And we're back with the show. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. Thanks so much for tuning in. And speaking of tuning in, we're back with the TV Ratings Guide. That's TVRatingsGuide.com for all the latest TV info, ratings info, and a lot of historical things as far as what has gone on in the TV world now and in the past, and also setting up for the future as well. And who better to have on the show from the TV Ratings Guide than two of our favorite writers? It's Jessica Boggs and Bridger Cunningham. How are both of you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
All right, all right.
Doing wonderful.
Sweet, sweet. That's great indeed. We truly appreciate you both being part of the broadcast here today. I know you send this out to your awesome site, which has a ton of readers and ton of followers. That's the TV Ratings Guide. I also want to mention out there, not only should you follow them on the TVRatingsGuide.com website, but also their Twitter and Facebook account at the TV Ratings Guide. I'm telling you, it's so easy. It's just awesome if you just follow them on Facebook, as I do a lot. And when you see the articles that you want to follow, ping, 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 pops right up. You just click on it, and all their great stuff is right there for you. In fact, before I go into some of the summer programming and whatnot, because I know that's a big topic you wanted to talk about in today's show, I know, Jessica, you had an issue in regards to a subject that's very near and dear to my co-host Josh Peterson's heart, and that's on mental health and mental awareness, especially after the unfortunate suicides that have taken place recently. Is that correct?
Yeah, especially with Linkin Park
Of course. And obviously the lead singer of Linkin Park passed away, fortunately, due to a suicide. So tell me a little bit about the article itself, what you were trying to focus on, and where can they find that article itself?
Well, I did a Justice take on the issue, and I put a story about Linkin Park and the lead singer and whatnot, but I also thought about my own personal struggles with anxiety as a whole.
Absolutely, and this is a very serious issue indeed. And Josh Peterson has championed that issue, that it should be in the forefront of people's conversations, and not just relegated to side talk or when somebody when somebody passes away, unfortunately, from a suicide. And definitely, if you have anybody out there that has something that they feel is worth doing something like that tragically, please, instead of going that route, you want to contact the suicide prevention hotline. That's a toll-free number. Just talk to them. They're some, I'm sure they're great people as far as trying to work out those issues indeed. So if you're interested at all in suicide prevention and also the mental health awareness state, please check out her article on the TVRatingsGuide.com. That's the TVRatingsGuide.com. So enough of that seriousness for right now. I want to talk a little bit about some summer programming, because I know you're going to be back here in about a month or so talking about all the great things that are going on in fall TV. So we'll just put that to the side and save that for another episode. But we want to talk some summer programming, because you asked me to come on the show to talk some real great summer shows, and some ones that maybe have disappointed both of you in what your thought as well. So Bridger, I want to get your thoughts first on some shows on any one of the networks that you choose that you think have really stood out and performed well as a summer program for summer programming this year.
Every year I look at the ratings. I've looked at them in the past, and usually I looked at the overall. Like, I didn't look at the demographics, but the one that stands out for me is Big Brother. And one of the reasons, I'm not a reality TV fan, and I've tried to watch that. My entire family but me watches that in sports, and I just cannot get into it. However, it performs decently at the bar of about a 1.8 or higher, which is good, because most of the summer shows are swinging 0.8 or 0.6, 0.5. This show somehow performs on a solid bar. It has a continual base that comes back every year.
Every year, it's incredible, isn't it?
Exactly. They claim it's on season 22 or something of that sort. I call it season 16 because it's been 16 calendar years. When I've done that in the past, when I've created the historic cards, they'll claim, oh, they had 2 or 3 seasons this season. I just call it one because I go by 1 calendar year. But yeah,
they've also had, but like you said, they had those segmented, when they were on a lot more regularly in their earlier years, whatnot, when they were a hot ticket and they were a go-to show for CBS, that they needed some fill-in work indeed. Before we go any further, and something I have yet to talk about on the show, whenever the great people from the TVRatingsGuide.com, is we always talk about a 0.8 or a 1.8 and what you were talking about. Jessica, can you tell us exactly when you break down the numbers for your folks on the TVRatingsGuide.com and also for our audience here listening today, what does that percentage come out to as far as the audience and the homes, and when they talk about the importance of the demographics, exactly what do those numbers really translate into for in layman's term for the regular audience out there that doesn't keep up to date with the points and all that, and why should they even care about the ratings as far as from a standpoint of a 0.8 to a 1.0 or whatnot?
Well, basically it's just the percentage of people in the 1849 demographic, which is the advertiser's target demo for broadcast. Basically, that's the percentage of U.S. Americans on a Nielsen family, and that's the percentage of people that are watching a singular program at a given time.
Well, very well said indeed. And that's obviously the key, is the 18 to 49 demographic, to target those audiences, because obviously they're the most likely to spend the most money on products that are shown on television. I'm almost reaching out of that demographic, which is sad indeed. So I won't even go there. But
they're
anyway,
also the most elusive out of the pack, because typically the ones that spend most money are actually 50 to 75. However, the 18 to 49-year-olds are tough to capture because they're on the move. Their tastes change from moment to moment. So that's why the ratings tend to target the 18 to 49 demographic.
Fair enough. Indeed, that's well explained by you, Bridger, as well. So I definitely appreciate it to enlighten our audience on the percentages and whatnot, because that's a key, and also time slot, different. And we've talked before in the past. One show that I liked is Elementary, which does very minimal ratings on Sunday nights because it's almost in a death slot, but it keeps getting renewed because of a number of different factors, as far as the expectations for that time slot aren't as high, and then also as well the fact that they have a beautiful syndication program going on. I think that was probably enlightening as well. But moving back into summer programming, Jessica, so what are some of the shows that you have been targeting that have surprised you? I know at Bridger it has been, the continued audience for Big Brother, but what are some of the shows that you've been looking into this summer season?
On broadcast, I've been looking at America's Got Talent as usual. It seems like it's been getting stronger because the week average has dropped recently. And now I'm on cable, I'm watching Snowfall, MTV's Thursday lineup, and then Nashville.
Well, you're always a Nashville fan, so I know that for sure. Nashville, summer, fall. My conversations with the TV Ratings Guide, it seems amongst your crew, Nashville is just like that, hit that like sweet spot for you. And you and I talked before the program about Nashville's fall in the ratings right after it got picked up for another season. Is that correct?
Yes. It got picked up for another season of 16 episodes, but yet after that, the quality decreased and the ratings went down in 5B. And that was after the departure of Connie Britton.
And that's true. We talked about that as well. And I said that yes, they did commit to another season. The Nashville Network did, but they could shorten the season as well. What's the standard for Nashville? 12 episode, or is it 16?
Right now they're at 16 episodes, and they don't go into production until August.
But it's a possibility they could shorten the season with continued declining ratings. So that's, and if they haven't paid the checks out yet, so there you go. That could be a problem indeed for Nashville going forward. Bridger, there's been some shows that have not performed as well. I know there's been some expectations on some summer programs, even in light of the fact that summer programming is traditionally lower viewed because everybody's out having fun, everybody's fun in the sun and all that. But what are some of the shows that have disappointed the ratings overall? Either in year over year, or a new program that was projected to rate a little bit higher.
Honestly, I'm kind of a sitcom junkie, so when I saw what happened to Carmichael this year, that was a little bit disappointing.
Yes, the Carmichael show has been a hot point for a lot of feedback against the networks for cutting it out. Correct?
Right, and it was one of those that it never rated well from what I looked up. It was like every season in the summertime, it was kind of like an afterthought. That, along with Downward Dog, both, it's like summer is not a good place to launch a show. And it's almost as though the networks are almost guaranteeing a death knell by putting it in the summertime.
True indeed. But their expectations aren't as high, correct, for a show. Let's take like Snowfall. I know that's something that we talked about briefly. Jessica, Snowfall has been a heavily promoted show on the FX network. But because, what we just talked about with Bridger, it may not have the expectations of some others because summer programming is traditionally trending lower. But your thoughts on how Snowfall has performed so far this in its short run so far with FX?
In week 1, it premiered to like almost a 0.5, and then this week it went up from a 0.36 from week 2. That may be because of the week 2 had a decreased lead-in, though.
There's always an usually a week 2 downfall. I've seen with almost every program. Rarely have I seen with a week 2 program where it goes higher, but it's trending back up again. So maybe audiences are tuning back in, whatnot. And like you said, it's all about the lead-in, but with FX, it's kind of different because they play just a traditional movie, a hit movie from the past before they run their shows. From what I've seen with the Strain, with Snowfall, with whatever they're doing now. But I know the Strain is also in its last season, as far as it's concerned, the final season for the Strain. So, Bridger, do you have the numbers for that, or how has the Strain performed in its short run so far as well?
I'll be perfectly straight with you. I haven't been following that, and it hasn't caught my radar. That's one of those things that the cable shows I don't watch as much as far as their performance. So.
No worries. Traditional broadcasting washer, indeed. That's definitely respected. So I said it's the final season for the Strain. I know that's something that a lot of people have talked about for the FX. So is it going out on a decent note so far, Jess, or is it just something that people would just want to get rid of and move on to another?
I think it was like at 0.4, 0.5 the season before, and then it premiered about the same, though. So I see it. It's mostly consistent.
Indeed. So that's a decent sign for the Strain, because it's one of those shows you either really liked or didn't even care about either which way. Because when they announced it's their final season, I really couldn't get into the program myself. But I know there's quite a few fans out there of it.
Howdy. Hey.
I do want to talk to you, Bridger, a little bit about the broadcast programming, indeed. So there are a lot of comedies. and also a lot of good shows that have premiered over summer. I know when it comes to the game shows, the traditional game shows.
Okay.
The traditional broadcast channels have come back to some traditional programming. We've seen the Pyramid and so, some great shows that from the past, as far as great game shows, have come back strong on the networks, especially ABC and ABC and whatnot. ABC and whatnot.
And leave them for a second. I'm doing a podcast right now, and hold up.
Well, adjust yourself first.
Yeah, I am adjusting myself. So. Yeah. I'm wearing my headphones. So I guess I'll see you later, okay? Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
Life happens.
Yes, yeah. Just is there an easy mute button for you yet, or do you have that option on your?
I have the option. And
okay.
Sorry, I'm on for a minute, so.
No worries, no worries. It's just wanting to keep things flowing. So Bridger, again, it'll sound much better in post. I can tell you already. So Bridger, again, I was saying that there's a lot of traditional game shows out there, especially some from the past that I've been familiar with over the years, that have been reborn again in their eyes, in the network's eyes, I should say. So what are some of those TV shows that with those game shows? What are those TV game shows doing in the summer as far as how are they doing in the ratings and how are they competing overall with some of the other programming that's available this summer?
As far as the game shows, how they're performing, they're doing a heck of a lot better than many of the sitcoms and a lot of the scripted fares. They're more around the bar of about 1.0 to 1.2 or higher. Some of them fall a little bit below, but however their production values justify they can get through a lower bar like that and still be okay. Several shows.
Your microphone's cutting out.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh, no worries.
Oh, going back.
So I'll ask you, Jessica. Some of the shows, the traditional shows for game shows have really come on strong this summer. So how are they actually doing in fare against the other competition that's out there?
But it seems like the Sunday game shows are doing a little better than on the average wise than the Thursday shows. But overall, the Gong Show may be older skewing, but it and Battle of the Network Stars are pulling it.
Battle of the Network Stars, the Gong Show, host with Mike Myers, who's not trying to be Mike Myers on the show. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, the $1 Million Pyramid? Is it the Match Game, or what's the one with Alec Baldwin?
Match Game, but it aired as a winter filter this year, so it hasn't.
Oh, I thought he was coming back this year up for the summer, so my apologies on that.
Yeah, but to tell the truth, it's back for the summer, so it's
okay. So, and then also some other great TV shows. What's the one with Candy Crush? Candy Crush. Obviously, as a gaming enthusiast, I got to ask you, how is Candy Crush performing as well on the show?
Well, it went fractional at week 2, though. I think it's a 0.8, basically.
Okay. Not too bad, I guess, for summer programming, indeed. So
yeah,
definitely something that could be worth another shot in another year for you. So, Bridger, how you sounding right now?
Okay, how's that working? Is that better for you?
No, it's still choppy.
Okay, what about you?
We had it good for a while.
Okay, is it improving now?
No.
still choppy.
Okay.
How about now?
Okay, how about let's try that out?
Still a little choppy.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. It happens.
Okay. production too. So
The thing is, yeah, because if you're sound choppy here, when I go back and post and I edit the show, I will
yeah, I
edit the
don't
show.
do-
Yeah,
okay.
I want to have usable audio for both of you, and I don't want to because I just won't be able to use it. And that's not fair to you, to both of you. So
Okay, what
Yeah.
about
there was a lot of good stuff before. How about now? Let's see.
Okay, am I coming through in a better audio?
Still a little choppy. Let's see if we can run with it then. But I'll ask you, Bridger, and as far as, are there any shows that you know from what you've seen on the broadcast networks? Because I know there's a lot of still great programming on the broadcast networks that you want everybody to know about before they go off for another season or off until next summer, that people need to really watch.
What do you mean about this summer, or just the whole season in general?
Just this summer, although I was also testing out if your audio's better, and it's still not better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll try. I'm not sure how to make this improve, but honestly, with the summertime, I'm more of a Netflix fan at this point.
Okay, fair enough.
And the summer shows, nothing really grabs me. One of the things I find to be very interesting, a strategy that ABC is going for next year, is American Idol on Sundays. And what's funny is we were talking about game shows, and the game shows, for some reason, do quite well in the summertime. So it's interesting how ABC might actually be targeting that audience that likes the game shows right before they go into it in the main season. In 2017 springtime, it was, we call it the spring doldrums. Ratings were absolutely dreadful across the board.
Yeah,
for everybody.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, as a someone who also follows Netflix and what they do as well. Netflix seems to be, for a company that always seems to be teetering as far as profitability. The whole industry as a whole seems to just wants to know what Netflix is always up to with its programming. Indeed, Jessica, are you familiar with what some of the shows on Netflix are doing strong? I know Stranger Things at this weekend at Comic-Con was a huge success as far as the trailer there, and I know people are really excited for when it comes out this Halloween. But are there some other Netflix programming that, well, maybe not Adam Sandler related, that are really doing strong on the network that you want to make sure everybody gets to, hear about and know about as well?
Orange is the New Black. That's one of their biggest shows. And on their show, sitcoms, it's Fuller House is doing okay, respectively. Netflix doesn't even release the viewership numbers publicly.
Yeah, and that's a shame that they don't, because you can see then and gauge idea what would be strong indeed. I know they don't really tell you anything about numbers or about what does well and what doesn't do well in the program until they're usually their shareholders, as far as when they report to their shareholders. Indeed. Bridger and Jess, one final thought before we head on out. Just want to ask your thoughts on the summer season so far. What are some great things to look forward to heading into the fall? And what are some of the shows that you want to talk about as we move forward with the summer program here today?
Frankly, everybody will learn this when they go through my articles. I'm kind of a sitcom junkie, so this fall I'm really looking forward to American Housewife coming back. I've always been a Kate Mixon fan, so that show takes a good dose of Kratz and puts a good spin on the sitcom as far as you used to all these perfect little pretty Barbie dolls running the show, and you've got somebody that's all fired up and giving it honest opinions. The Wednesday comedy block on ABC is going to be strong. Sundays on Fox are actually going to get a little stronger this season. And Mondays, I'll be quite honest, are kind of forgettable with sitcoms, but I'm looking forward to all offerings that everybody has across the board. We're going to have Tina Fey's Comedy Great News coming back. We're even going to see a revival of Will and Grace. So there's going to be a couple of revivals this season. We'll have Will and Grace, and then we'll have Roseanne as well. So
I know it seems like exactly.
Yeah, I actually carved up a few sitcom cards, for past ratings, and Roseanne's at the top for 7 years since she was in the top 10.
Indeed, it seems like the '90s revisited with both of them coming back on the air. So my 20s are coming back into focus right now. That it's just. I hope it's a good thing. I hope they're able to relive the magic per se. I think of the two, I think Will and Kate will. I think they suffice better. They've already tested out, obviously, with those shorts that they've done already and programming. So I think they've done very well there. And I think that of the two, I think probably will translate better to a modern audience. But that's just my guess so far. Jessica, any last thoughts on what you're looking forward to for the rest of the summer and going into the fall as well? I mean, we're gonna get everyone back on from the TV Ratings Guide for a big fall preview show, like I said earlier, back later this year. But what are some of the things you're focusing on as we head on out here today?
For this fall.
Well, no, the rest of the summer as you're going into fall, because there's still plenty, 6 weeks left of viewing left pretty much before the fall season kicks in.
Okay. Usually, I'm pretty interested to see the rest of the ratings play out between MTV and CMT, as they're both Viacom networks. Even though they say one network is how what network does shouldn't affect the other, but since they're both owned by Viacom, I think cable may have different expectations. I'll see how the Throwdown Thursday lineup on MTV is stabilizing the 11 p.m. It seems to have gone pretty well in the Chris McCarthy era.
No, that's good to hear. And MTV versus the country music channel. I won't go there as far as the musical comparisons are concerned. I'll just say a revival of MTV is long overdue. Because MTV once held the roost as being the way back when, and when music videos were alive back on broadcast or cable television, and now music videos are now a staple of the YouTube generation. So definitely would be nice for MTV now that they've become very heavily reliant on reality programming to gain a foothold back into television homes once again.
I agree. I grew up with MTV like that too. I mean, it was like we threw MTV on when we were building Legos, my brother and I. It was, matter of fact, the Goldbergs did a tribute to that, where they were talking about you sat through on a block because you didn't care whether you liked that video or not. You sat through because you couldn't wait until you heard the song that you liked. It was like an event or a pastime to watch MTV.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Back to the old days, because it's still very chic to go back to have programming that harkens back on the 80s and 90s. I mean, Spider-Man: Homecoming, a movie I did a review on for the TVRatingsGuide.com, and also as well popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, had a lot of 80s and 90s references as well. So it's definitely still cool to do so, and obviously we're going to be getting Roseanne and Will and Kate back from that era, and then even more as well. So looking forward to it indeed, and looking forward to having you both back on the show, and also as well hopefully many more guests from the TVRatingsGuide.com. That's the TVRatingsGuide.com. Also as well, check them out on Facebook and Twitter on the TV Ratings Guide. It is a great site, informational indeed, constantly updating every single day, several articles. Whether you just go back to the TVRatingsGuide.com and check them out indeed, and refresh for new stories and updates, or you just go through. I highly recommend, cannot recommend enough, going through their Facebook or Twitter, because you get the latest articles. They pop up right there. Just click on it and you can just read there. So highly recommending you following the TV Ratings Guide on Facebook and Twitter indeed. So Bridger Cunningham and also Jessica Boggs, it's been truly a pleasure having you both on the show. Just great pleasure indeed talking some summer programming, and I cannot wait to have you both on the show in the future in a few weeks when we talk a lot about the fall programming, because I already told Jessica that we're going to devote a heavy chunk of the programs during that time on the a fall preview indeed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And hopefully my humor doesn't take over your show, because I tend to like to do the sitcoms, and it can run a little wild when I'm writing. So.
Oh, that's fine indeed. You know, you'll be given as much time do you want as far as to talk about all the great stuff indeed. And if I have to put it on both of our great shows, the PCC Multiverse and the Pop Culture Cosmos show, the floor will always be yours for that indeed. So for Bridger, as always, we truly appreciate it. Jessica, any last thoughts before we head on out?
Well, I'm really excited for the fall lineup with the sitcoms, but I'm more interested on their drama lineups, though, to see if they're going to improve ABC's drama situation. But historically we had when ABC ruled the roost, it had also included expanded sitcom base. But
that's true. I mean, they were heavily sitcom reliant back in the day when they were on top. Now CBS, with its heavy drama lineup, really still commands the roost at this point in time. I was still hoping that Star Trek Discovery was, going to be on more than just, one time on the network. So, but that's all access type of thing. So you got to get CBS All Access. So I'm gonna have to tune into that, when it comes aboard very soon as well. So I appreciate both you being on. Jessica, thank you so much. Bridger, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you being both part of the podcast here today. It's Bridger Cunningham and Jessica Boggs. Please follow them on the TVRatingsGuide.com. Want to thank everybody for listening in, and truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. And, of course, you've both been on the Pop Culture Cosmos.